Welcome to Activate at RampHQ. Thank you all for coming. My name is Ben Fitriansky. I run the business side of things at Flox. Flox allows you to create reproducible development environments that are consistent with you from local machine to the build side, all the way to production without any containers. It works cross-platform, it works cross-language, and has access to over 100,000 packages, all maintained upstream by this awesome open source project called Nix. This hack night is an awesome testament to the energy of the New York tech scene. We've seen San Francisco do so many hack nights, but we're going to do it, and we're going to do it better. Just don't tell them I said that. Expect to see many more of these hack nights. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to other partners on this awesome list. We want to do more of these, and we want to get you guys involved. We want to show you the latest developments in AI technology. We want to get you started working with AI, but we also want you guys to work together, and we're going to have some time for that afterwards. I want to thank some great partners, the almighty beacon of New York City tech, Ramp. Thank you for hosting us. Also, thank you for responding to my cold email. Cold emails still work. You guys should do it. To Colin and the team at Knock, you guys inspired us with DevTools and Dives, which is an awesome format, and thank you guys for being a part of this. To the South Park Commons team for being a beacon for entrepreneurial people in New York City to get started on what they're doing, which is awesome. The infamous Google Cloud, small but mighty, as they say. So we appreciate all of you guys for doing what you're doing, and a special thank you goes out to my team, especially Catherine for running the logistics side of things, and Ross, who's going to be our demo master and MC of the night. And finally, a thank you to Agent Ops, who unfortunately couldn't make it, but they are the ones who do dozens of hackathons all around the world, and I just wanted to show them that we could do it in New York and make it better. So we're going to do that. And finally, if you haven't yet done so, you could go outside to the check-in and get a raffle ticket. We're going to be doing a cool raffle. You can win some Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and we want to give it away, so make sure you get your ticket. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to Ross.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Ben. As you noticed while he was talking, I switched out the screen. We're going to be doing a little bit of that tonight. I want to show you Flox. Flox is a virtual environment manager that acts an awful lot like a package manager, and I'm going to attempt to install a local LLM and a local LLM interface in the next 5 minutes. And the first thing I want to do is create a directory, because Flox environments live inside directories. I'm going to run Flox init. This creates a new project inside of this directory, and Flox tells me what to do next. Flox search. So let's search for Ollama. We can find matching packages. We have Ollama in here, and we also have this other thing called Next.js Ollama LM UI. So let's do Flox install Ollama, and then this thing I don't feel like typing. And hopefully this is cached. OK, so when you do this yourself, it will be slower because I've cached this. Now I have Ollama and this Next.js Ollama LM UI inside my Flox environment. Let's edit this Flox manifest and define some services. If I look through this Flox manifest, I see an install section where these two packages I just installed can be found. There's also an environment variable section. I'm not going to need it for this demo, or the hooks, which run every time an environment activates, or the profile stuff, but I will want to define a service. So let's come in here and say ollama.command equals ollama serve. And let's also do, this other thing I don't want to copy again, which is probably still, it's probably still in my, there it is, yeah. Command equals, and the same thing. We'll exit this environment. And now when I do Flox activate minus --start -services, it's going to activate this environment. Now, Flox environments, it's not creating some container or some VM. It gave me a subshell. And in this subshell, Ollama is available. If I exit, it is not available. And that's how Flox environments work. They work inside of subshells. But something else really interesting happened because I activated with --start services. Let's look at these logs. Oops, and see what started up. Hey, look, my Next.js Ollama LM UI has started up, and it's right over here. And if I go over here and select the right model, I should be able to ask it a question. Oh, wouldn't it be fun if this didn't work? You can see it's starting to make the call. Oh. What's that? Yeah, actually, strangely enough, the UI is not seeing the models that are here. If I look at the Olama list, I can see them there. Let's try Flox services stop, and we'll shake the thing a little bit. It's a live demo. Demo 2B. An error occurred. Well, hey, this demo didn't work because the front end didn't talk to the back end, and it worked a little bit earlier. I'm actually not sure why that happened. However, I want to show you one other thing with Flox environments, and that's that I can install other things as well. For example, search GCC. GCC is in the Flox catalog. Lots of different versions of GCC. I can actually do Flox search for things that are fun, like Cowsay, for example, and it's in here as well. Flox has over 120,000 packages in it. Each of them have over 3 years of history, and it's really easy to collect together all of this software, put it in one place, surround it with an environment, and give somebody this manifest, which then they can use to get all of this software up and running where they're running. So this is Flox. Thank you very much. I appreciate local host IP. Tom thinks he knows why it didn't work, but that's okay. We're trying to keep these demos really, really short. Download Flox and give it a try. It's the package manager of your dreams. All right. So thank you. And now we have our next presenter.
I'm all mic'd up.
All right.
Good to
Awesome.
go.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh. No idea. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to be telling you a little bit about Knock. Full disclosure, we are not an AI product, but I think you could all get some real value out of our product anyway. And I want to show you a little bit about what we do. Here we go. Cool. So, hi, I'm Chris. I'm the CTO and co-founder at Knock. We're an NYC-based startup as well, although we have folks all over the US and some in Europe actually now as well. What we do as a company is we are a developer tool for helping you power cross-channel notifications. So I'm sure that at some point in your engineering journey, you have had to implement emails, push notifications, SMS, things like that. So you can think about Knock as an abstraction layer that makes it really easy to build cross-channel notifications with very little code, and we handle a lot of the complexities. So we have some really fantastic customers. If any of you have used Vercel to deploy anything on the front end, all of those build failed notifications that you receive because your build fails goes through us. So really good example of the kind of notifications we can do, and also their in-app notifications as well. So Knock is a completely fully formed notification platform. We think about ourselves as being completely developer first in the way that we operate. Yep. So that means that we give you really fantastic docs, really great SDKs. We've got mobile SDKs if you need to build mobile applications or you're looking to use React Native or Flutter, things like that. You can also manage all of your notifications configuration in a CI/CD environment, pull it all down locally. You can continuously deploy it back up to Knock. And then we make it really easy for maybe like other folks on your team to actually update these notification templates, look at all of the data associated with your notifications, understand more about the efficacy around your notifications as well. And then in case you need it, we take all of that data, we normalize it across channels. So think about like email opens, SMS link clicks, things like that. We normalize that data and we can stream it to places like Segment, or even to a data warehouse so that you can look at it alongside the rest of your product data as well. So a little bit about how Knock works in the obligatory SaaS diagram whereby we're in the center and things happen in the outsides. With Knock, you bring in all your data in, you're building a journey or a workflow, and then we're plugging into all of the downstream providers that you might be using today. So think about bringing your Twilio creds, your APNS credentials, things like that. You still own all of those credentials. We're just managing the delivery on your behalf, and we do things like exponential backoff on retries and just make everything a lot easier there. So Knock is completely scalable. We handle billions of API requests, hundreds of millions of notifications already today for those customers that were listed. I want to give you the world's shortest demo of what we do, just so you get a little overview as well. So this is our workflow builder. You can see it's a visual builder here, but and what I can do on the right-hand side are basically bring in things that are around notification primitives. So think about like, you want to build a digesting service. We've got all the primitives built in, so you don't have to write that kind of cron logic and think about building out those yourself. You can also orchestrate notifications like this. So I can say, trigger, send an in-app notification, send a Slack notification, delay for some amount of time, and then only follow up with this email if the in-app notification or the Slack notification have not been interacted with. So this is the kind of orchestration logic you can build. We can do way more than this. It's just a very simple demo to get you going. Our in-app notification feed, we actually provide a full set of React components. So let's say you just want to drop into your Hack Night project, a built-in real-time in-app notification feed. So think about like an inbox experience that you see in a lot of products. We have components that you can just drop in here, get up and running really, really quickly with a nice looking dark mode compatible full real-time in-app feed. We also support and handle things like user preferences as well. So think about like building this kind of cross-hatch experience of like, user does want to receive this, they don't want to receive this, all of those kinds of settings as well we support. And then finally, I just wanted to leave you with a thought starter. So I saw this tweet recently, actually last week, and I thought it was really interesting. It's obviously self-serving because we're in the notification space, and this tweet is specifically about notifications and AI. But I thought, there's a really interesting opportunity here whereby you can have this idea of actually maybe what does the interaction look like between more agentic workflows and more AI-driven workflows, sending notifications and interacting back with their users rather than necessarily being like chat-driven or prompt-driven as well. So I thought this might be an interesting thought starter for some folks in the room. And we'd love it if you powered your notifications through us as well, if you wanted to build something like this. Cool. So that's what we do. You can check us out at knock.app. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome, thank you. We're having another one set up now, which is in video format because somebody could not make it today. So we have a video for their demo. While we're getting that set up, you will be happy to know that my demo broke because my Tailscale exit node was enabled. Disabled that, walked over there, it works. Come find me later, I'll prove it to you. I'm sure you're very happy to know that it works. Pardon me? Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, now the Zio.
Hi, my name is Braylon, and I'm one of the engineers behind AgentStack. I just wanted to show you a quick little 5-minute example of how to work with AgentStack. So we already have the AgentStack CLI installed. I'll just type AgentStack, and we'll see a list of the commands that are available to us. We're going to run a init first to create a project, and then maybe we'll add some tools to it. So you can add tools by doing generate agent or generate task to create agents and tasks, and then to give those agents tools, we'll do AgentStack tools. So let's start with AgentStack init. We'll call it Loom example, just like that. So what this is going to do is create a virtual environment for us, for our agent, as well as a default project, which is kind of our hello world. So you'll see in here there's some instructions. We'll cd into Loom example. And then we created a virtual environment using UV, and that's our default virtual environment. You can change this. UV is a fantastic tool for managing your dependencies. We definitely recommend that. So once we create that, now we have a list of all of our dependencies that are installed to this project. I'll go ahead and open up this Loom example project. You'll see you have agentstack.json here, which just has a little bit of information about the stack that you've built so far. So the framework is CrewAI by default, and the tools that are available in this hello world example are file read. And let's go ahead and look into source and crew.py. So in here, you'll see that we have one agent named Alex and one task named Hello World. We can go into our config for each of these and look at our agents.yaml and see, okay, we have agent named Alex. Here's some backstories and information using the model GPT-4o. And we're telling it, hey, you have a file available to you at readme.md. And our tasks say, hey, we want to create a hello world, essentially. Look at the readme.md and tell me what to do next. And so we'll go ahead and drop to our README. And let me just go and delete all of this and say you are an agent built with agent stack. I want to make an agent that reads blog posts and summarizes them. So I'm just going to read this and tell us what to do next. Let's go ahead and run. So we'll go look back at crew.py. You'll see our agent Alex has a tool, file read tool. So that's telling the agent, hey, you have the ability to read files, and that's what will enable it to read readme.md. So let's go ahead and run it. We can do agent stack.run. And while this is running, let me explain. So our project is called agent stack. That's not to be confused with the agent stack. And so the agent stack is the list of tools that you use when building an agent. So think about like a web development stack. You have your database layer, you have your client side, and your server side layer. It's kind of like that. So we have a LLM layer, your LLM provider, you have a framework, you have observability, you have tools, and altogether, all of these different layers in the stack collectively are the agent stack. So our project agent stack is just a great way to scaffold that, to build it out with one command. As you can see, let me copy in my my environment variables. We'll run this one more time. But essentially, it didn't have access to the API key for OpenAI. So now we put that in there, it should work. But what this is with a couple commands, you can see we've created our agent stack with. We have observability. You can see here our session replay where there is a waterfall diagram showing every step that the LLM took and what tools that it used. We have tools that are available like file read, as well as all of these tools and many, many more on the way. So run agent stack tools. Yeah, here's a list of all the tools that are available, as well as the link to view even more on our docs. And to add it, it's as simple as agent stack tools add, let's add like Firecrawl. And doing this, it will install the tool, add it into our project, and you can see now we have web scrape, web crawl, and retrieve web crawl available to this agent. So now if you were to change the task and say in task.yaml, go look at this blog post and summarize it for me, it now has the tool available to it here in our tools list that is able to go read the page, return it as plain text using Firecrawl, and then generate the response or the summary. So this is just a very, very brief overview of what Agent Stack can do and how to get started with it. I highly recommend looking at the docs. We have some great quick start guides on there. We're always trying to make it a little bit easier and lower the barrier of entry. We also have a Discord server available. I am super active on there. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions. It's my job and what I really love to do to be helpful with this. So say
You're so polite. You're clapping for someone who's not here. That's very nice. Okay, that was Agent Ops, and sorry they couldn't be here, but a wonderful video. And up next is Susanna from South Park Commons to introduce the next demo.
Thanks, Ross. Hi, guys. I'm Susanna. I'm on the team at SPC, South Park Commons. We're a community and fund for builders and founders based in SF, New York, and Bangalore now. But we're really here for people, whether you're exploring startup ideas, refining or thinking about a new project or product, or looking to dive into a new domain. We're here for you, and we're looking to help you get through that crucial phase of building that we call the -1 to 0 phase. And we're always accepting applications for membership in our community. And actually, our application for our next funded cohort in the spring, the Founder Fellowship, is now open, so definitely take a look at that. But really excited to introduce Charles. Charles is here with one of our companies, Profound. Profound helps companies understand and control their AI presence. They launched in August last year, and they're working with a variety of companies, including Ramp, Rippling, MongoDB, Shopify, among a huge amount of others. Profound's honestly one of the most exciting startups in New York right now. I can speak from personal experience. But yeah, their founding engineer, Charles, is here to talk to us about retrieval systems that they're working with and how they're thinking about this new technology. So I'll turn it over to him.
Mic check. Thank you, Susanna. So my name is Charles, founding engineer at Profound. So Profound is a little bit different from other AI companies because from our perspective, we care about how other companies show up in those AI answer results. So I know every demo right now, we all talk about RAG. RAG is kind of like everywhere. It's in every single consumer AI product, ChatGPT, Perplexity, etc. And then what Profound's mission is to help those other big brands, Fortune 500 brands, to see how they're actually showing up in those answers. So here's one example. Everybody know the favorite ChatGPT. I have a prompt, and then I send it. And then since mid last year, ChatGPT introduced the web search capabilities. So it's basically doing RAG over the internet. And this gave us the unique opportunity to actually influence the response in real time. Back to RAG. So how do we analyze these systems at scale? So what do we do? The first step that we take is we actually send out about 500,000 prompts every day to these major AI platforms. And then we can infer some very basic pattern from it. For example, for a given category of things, where do they actually cite these sources from? And also, we can analyze a little bit further. For example, our crawler will actually go visit those websites, and then we will check their content, and then we'll check the output, like if you're asking for a sneaker, Nike ranked first, and why did that happen? We'll go on those websites and see what's going on. And naturally, we get asked a question, how do brands or any developer optimize their website for these AI retrieval systems? And then this is very quickly notice the disconnect. Because perhaps you see a normal website, and then as you might know, all these RAG systems will just read the HTML file. And perhaps even worse, if you're doing client-side rendering. And this is what we realized majority of the AI crawlers actually don't render JavaScript. And first implication of this is the traditional approach of tracking actually doesn't work. You're not going to track if there's an AI crawler actually visits your site, and then you have no visibility into all these systems when they are interacting with your website. So how do we fix this? We go back to the good old server logs, going back in the 80s and 90s. In the server logs, it basically records every single user agents and IPs. So we check those user agents, and we verify IPs are actually coming from those companies. When we are doing this, we actually realize majority of the traffic is actually spoofing major companies. For example, user agents that's pretending to be Google bot, only about a quarter of them is actually real. I will show a little demo about this tool. So here's our platform. We have this domain analysis tool, which we hook up the flightmapper.io, which is a friend's side hustle project. And then very quickly, you can see all the interaction from the major AI crawlers. And then we have some basic stats about AI crawlers on your site over time. What's very interesting is once we have this tool, we can start figuring out more patterns. For example, if I go to our logs, if I only filter by ChatGPT, we will actually see about 7:14, 7:15, their crawler actually just visited the site. So it's very interesting because we realize the OpenAI will first, they will take like a short SERP result, search page, result page, SERP page. And then it's just basically like a link list of websites and short expert of them. And then the AI answer engine will basically decide, okay, this link, I want to go visit it. And then Profound's platform has been integrated with a lot of websites. And here are the stats that's coming from the December 2024. And by observing the behavior of these AI crawlers on these major sites, we see majority of the AI crawlers actually doesn't render JavaScript. So as a developer, if you're developing a website and especially thinking about interacting with an agent, perhaps you want to do more server-side rendering. So what can we do with all this data? Profound is training a model that's basically getting all the inputs from the existing data that we're collecting. And then the output will be, if you are drafting a piece of content, you basically try to optimize so the AI search engines will pick you up better. There's a lot of data science component to it, and it's always a work in progress for us. So lastly, I want to shout out that we're hiring full stack engineers and data scientists. We are a small company, but we are working with some of the biggest brands in the world right now, and we're growing very fast. So if you're interested, please go on our website, tryprofound.com, and hopefully I will see you in the office later. Cheers.
Thank you. That was really interesting. As we're getting the next one set up, I'd like to take an opportunity again to thank everybody who helped make this possible. So South Park Commons, Knock, AsianOpt, Google, thanks Flox. And most of all, I want to thank Ramp because, I mean, look at this room. This is a really cool place to have a meeting. And it just so happens that our next demo is Ramp. So thank you for the venue, and I can't wait to see what you're showing us.
Yeah, we're super excited to be partnering with Flox today, or hosting this event, just because Flox is one of our valued customers. And so we just wanted to give you a quick brief overview of Ramp as a platform. We're also not really an AI company, but we've provided sort of a demo sandbox that you could potentially use as a source of data for any of your hacks, if you so choose. And so we're going to give you a quick demo of what Ramp is. Followed by sort of just a quick overview of our developer API. Yeah, the demo of Ramp will actually be a little bit more focused towards a lot of the tooling that you could potentially be using. So, question is, what is Ramp? We're in the business of issuing corporate cards, and but what makes us a software engineering company is the accompanying software expense management tooling that comes with it. And so I'm going to demonstrate to you the experience of two kinds of users on Ramp. We've got the everyday employee like me, or an admin slash an accountant, CFO, at the, financial controller at a company who might be using Ramp to manage their expenses. But just for as an employee at Ramp, I also use Ramp. And when I first onboarded to the company, I received a card in the mail, and my entire experience of Ramp is predominantly based in sort of the SMS and the Ramp app interface. At my previous company, I would be using an outdated expense management tool where at the end of each month or after every trip, I would have to upload all of my receipts onto a clunky UI. And then also have to work out all of the coding, accounting coding, as well as identify all of the people who attended every event with me. But today, I might just swipe my card at and it could also be a virtual card on your phone, swipe my card at a coffee store, having coffee with a colleague, and I would automatically receive a notification, a text message notification. I'll send the receipt, add a memo, and that is my entire experience with the expense management, and it really simplifies and streamlines the process for the employee. And that's ideally where we want most employees' interactions with their cards, and that really should be the end of it. The other piece, so of course, companies want to be able to control spend and also manage spend, and so that's sort of where the admin comes in. Oh, yeah, that's where the admin comes in. And so the admin experience on Ramp is a little bit more reflective, and this is the demo sandbox that we set up, where they can manage spend requests, set approvals, and put all of those controls around cards so that they aren't being misused, and we can do things like preventing fraud as well as doing your day-to-day accounting. The main pages that I'm going to show you today, especially with respect to the admin, things like the accounting page where you can see the list of transactions and continue sort of the accounting coding process. We've got the users page where you can obviously manage users, and for example, the cards page, which allows us to see which cards have been distributed and what spend is allocated towards those things. And those are all sources of data that you can pull with the Dev API. I'm going to pass over to Junho for just a brief overview of our Dev API.
Hello, everyone. I'm Juno. I'm on the Developer API team. Super happy to be here with you guys. For the interest of time, we're not going to look into the docs yet, but that's the website that has all of the documentation. But let's ask the question, what is Developer API? I'm pretty sure most people here know what an API is, but it stands for Application Programming Interface, and it's basically just a way for a computer to talk to another computer. And that's probably the best way of thinking it. So now you might be wondering, who uses Developer API? Developers. Now, who are those developers? So we like to think we have three main target demographics for our Developer API. The first one's obviously customers. Usually larger customers, such as Shopify, like to use our API to pull data, enrich their own sources of financial data, etc. Another big consumer of our Developer API is other B2B SaaS companies. And of course, this is because we have a lot of data about B2B SaaS as a corporate finance company. And our last demographic is system integrators, which are just integrators that kind of build more custom solutions for specific customers and help them onboard and use Ramp. Yeah, so there are a lot of different things that people can build. Like I mentioned, enterprises like Shopify like to pull data. There's also accounting firms that build on our API. There's user management, receipt automation, insight generation, embedded cards, IT provisioning, data pipeline, and a lot more that I'm not mentioning right now. And we'll probably put this back up after all the demos are done, but we have set up some sandboxes for you guys to play around with our API. And I do want to say, don't feel pressured to have to use our API. Of course, the type of data we have on our API could be a good source of training data, for example, but for the purposes of this hack, probably not the best place to build on, but it's whatever you guys want to do. And that is it. Thank you for listening.
Okay, home stretch. We have one left. How is this so far, the format of really, really quick demos? Is that good for an evening? Okay, awesome. We'll keep doing it. I'd like to bring Carlos up here to introduce the Google Cloud team.
Hey everybody, my name is Carlos. I do partnerships with Google Cloud. My biggest interest is making sure that the most awesome founders and startups are building on GCP as early as possible. As a part of that initiative, we have some really awesome programs set up for you guys, which gives credits to founding teams. The tier I work with the most has 200K in credits, but also the product that we were presenting on has their own tier of credits as well, which are covered under what the program I just mentioned as well. So I'm not presenting, my teammates Matt and Dhruva are. I'll hand it over to them, but if you have any questions, want to know more, see me afterwards as well.
Testing. Hey everybody, thanks for having us. My name is Matt Olivo. This is Dhruva Kamra. We're engineers and AI specialists at the small and mighty startup known as Google Cloud. We're here for a very quick demo of a product we call Agent Builder. So you've heard a lot today about RAG, building it yourself, right? How do you essentially build large language model, Gen AI powered multimodal chat and search experiences for your end users? But what we're going to show is how do you do it without writing any code, right? So
Sorry, and I know that's sacrilegious, but again, we're going to try. But there's more to do.
Seen a lot of code today.
Yeah.
We're hoping we can maybe make things a little bit easier. So the product I'm showing right now is called Agent Builder. As I mentioned, this is a very quick way to be able to build your own search UI and develop a web app to serve to your end users to search across essentially any data that you have either in the public internet or your own enterprise data. So we have the Agent Builder home screen here. If I go ahead and create an app, what you'll see is there's a ton of different apps that we can build based on the type of data that we're going to be searching across, right? So this can be things like crawling a website, right, and pulling all the documentation from the developer API from Ramp, for example. Or search for retail, right, searching through a product catalog and helping to optimize recommendations for end users. I talked a little bit about multimodal earlier, so searching across video, media data, essentially any structured or unstructured data that you want to power through your large language model. And what we did today was we built an app around generic search or blended search. So searching across, we have, I'll hop into the data stores that we're powering this with. And you'll see we have some files in Google Drive. We have some structured data in a table in BigQuery, our data warehouse. We have unstructured data in a cloud storage bucket, right, which is some documentation and information on Agent Builder. And then we also have a video as well doing a demo of the product that we can then search through. So very quickly, once you kind of upload the underlying data into Google Cloud and into Agent Builder to power this large language model, it spits out a website and a UI that your end users can hop in and say, okay, because we fed the documentation for Agent Builder here, we could say, okay, what is Agent Builder? And you'll see up here, I'm going to search across all of the information that we put in, but I could also just choose one of the sources, right, giving the end users the ability to kind of choose what specific sources they're powering that search from. If I search this, it should give me an AI summary of, from the documentation that we uploaded, what Agent Builder is, a little bit of a longer-winded way of saying everything that I just said. And then I'll ask it a follow-up question, right? I think we have some prompts here. So I mentioned earlier, what is blended search? I'll ask a follow-up. It's keeping within its context window the previous question that I asked, right? It's going to spit out a follow-up based on the information it had provided earlier. What is a subcategory of Agent Builder? What does blended search look like? And then finally, I'll say, okay, can you list what data sources can be used? I'm basically just summarizing all of the information I already told you guys. And it's going to spit out a list detailing essentially all of the different structures and types of data that we can feed into this large language model. And again, there's a ton of enterprise features that you can add onto this, like grounding your results in Google search responses to ensure accuracy, obviously enterprise safety and trust considerations. And I'm going to pass it over to Dhruva to kind of wrap us up with a product called Agent Space.
Yeah, perfect. And there's a couple of things that I would like to add to this, right? The first thing is that what you're seeing right now in terms of this summary, which is actually a blended summary from across that corpus, right? That multimodal, multi-formatted corpus, and it's grounded just to that. The answer, the summary, is not coming from anywhere else. So the first thing, the minute you attach a data source, is the fact that this will spit out 100% grounded answers. What do I mean by answers, first of all, right? So the great thing is, one, of course, you can have sort of a bit of a communication and a chat with this agent or with this appliance or with this app. The other thing is you can actually start doing a few more things, right? Let's look at a couple of things before I move on to the next topic. One, every bit of information that is given as a part of this summary, beyond and besides what we're used to with, let's say, Google search, which is, okay, here's the documents, here are the links, so on and so forth, there is a reference to every bit of information that was quantified. So we can see that essentially every bit of information that's coming is from a document that is associated as a corpus to this given app. So never outside. But just in case you did want to go to Google search, you did want to enhance, accentuate, add to, append to this information, you can always have a portion of this RAG which sort of adds information based on Google search and our ranking. That said, one of the greatest things that happened to us, I think, considering what we're presenting, was around what do you do with all of this information that's being thrown at you with AI, right? I'm consuming this information. My eyes are, right? What about that downstream process, right? How do we sort of connect it to a NOC or to something else? So that's where I think somewhere last year, we weren't really happy with what this was, as multimodal as it might be. We decided we need to take it to the next step, which is, you know what, let's connect this information to a downstream process. Quick note though, you already can, but you would have to sort of get into an API level based extraction and push and pull. But what we did with Agent Space, and it's in private preview, was we basically gave you the same interface, but just another option to start doing more. What does that more really entail? So this is, again, the same interface that you saw with what Matt was showing with Agent Builder, but except that this is Agent Space. Sorry, we're not great with nomenclature and names. But that said, I have a few additional capabilities that are available now with Agent Space. The first thing that we have is something called Actions. Now, before I actually go into that, I would love to do a quick demo. So much like what Matt did, we'll go to the search appliance or the web page that it sort of auto provisions for you, and I'll ask it a similar question like, okay, what is Agent Space? Same repositories, same data stores, again, multimodal coming in from different data sources. Also, we do support GA'd multiple third-party data sources as grounded data, Oracle, for example, SharePoint, for example. So check that out. I get a similar answer, but again, at this juncture, what I can do is, one, I'll ask it a follow-up question. The first differentiation that's happened is now you've taken that search Q&A experience or the RAG experience or the unilateral consumption experience to a bilateral experience. Now I will start using this data, which I just got as a synopsis. Based on the grounded information, I can actually start communicating with this chatbot, which sort of spun off after I asked it the second question. It knows the intent is that I want to do more. So let's say in this case, and being sort of cognizant of time, what I will do is, that's not my sheet. Okay, there we go. I'll just say, you know what, this is great, whatever you just showed me. Let's actually put this information or draft this information in an email. For now, what we did and with what majority of the providers do is, okay, once you've consumed that information, then you're calling another API, you're calling another process. Then you're looking at a scalable API thing and you've got to do Apogee or whatever, right? But at this point, now I have, like I said, a bilateral, like a give and take experience with this app or this agent space or this agent. And it gives me a draft of an email with the question or the information that it gave me for that query. You know what, but I'm not happy with this. It's still something that I would maybe have to copy paste or use again using an API method. So what I will do instead is I will say, you know what, don't compose something, don't draft something, just go ahead and send it for me, which is what I will do exactly. And it will, hopefully, if the demigods are kind, it will actually create a Gmail object. That's one of the connectors that we have. For example, we have calendars as well. There's a couple of third-party connectors available right now, Slack and I think Oracle and SAP and Jira. Much like what we did with Agent Builder, we will have others that will come online, SharePoint, etc. So you can start publishing information to your channels. And yeah, so start connecting this to umpteen number of downstream processes. So RAG is no longer just a consumption method. It's something that you can actually use for action. So that's what action was, long-winded way of saying it. Everything else is great from a developer standpoint. What you can do is start tuning and tweaking how this agent or this bot responds to each and every question, right? You can give it personas from a prompt perspective, or what you can also do, if I go into what Matt was showing you, I go to configurations, you can actually get into proper tuning, right? Which is where you will start working it from a customer, consumer, or B2C perspective. So that's what developers would do. But again, not waste time in creating a grounded RAG. That's it. Hopefully this was nice for all of you.
Hold on, Drew.